Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rebecca and I redesign old thrifted items and I show you step by step how to do it. In today's video we are going to redesign an old bed sheet and we're going to transform it into a button-up dress with long sleeves and cuffs and a tie in the waist. And let's get started. So I'm going to do a little sketch and I'm going to show you my plan for this design. So I wanted to have these long sleeves and I wanted to have the cuffs. So something like this is what I am planning to make. I want to put a lot of effort in the details. I love adding details, especially in thrift flips, because you can really elevate the original fabric. Sometimes it has been washed many times and sometimes there are stains you need to cover. So you need to think outside the box to elevate what you already have so that you want to wear it. We'll probably add some pockets. Maybe there will be more details as we go. This is the plan and I'll try to stick with this plan, but I might go outside of the plan. We'll see. Okay, so we're going to use a basic pattern I made in another video. I have linked it down below. We're going to fold the shoulder over and then draw the neckline a little bit higher. Then trace around the old lines as it was the original pattern and cut them out. For the back part, you're going to do the same thing, just fold the shoulder inside and then cut it out. Go ahead and find another piece of fabric and on the bias of the fabric, place the center front and the center back overlapping each other so that the top is lining each other. Then I use the original sleeve pattern and I use it as a guide as I'm cutting out the sleeve, and I'm following the curve on the original sleeve and then I'm following the new curve on the bodice pattern pieces. Then I'm marking the front and back and the grain line. Now go ahead and sew the front part and the back part together with the sleeve and make any adjustments. I needed to have the curve a little bit lower on the center front, and so I just cut that away and did another mock-up. When I was happy with the pattern, I cut out 2 pieces of sleeves on the bias of the fabric, and then on the straight grain I cut out 2 pieces of the back and the front and also the side panels. Next we're going to draft the skirt, and on a folded fabric you're going to measure around your waist and divide that number by 3.14, and then you're going to use the measurement as a making a half circle, and then also measure the length of the skirt. Then I also cut out all the bodice pieces in a lining fabric. Next I went ahead and sewed together the darts on the back pieces, and then also sewed together the center front, and I also connected the side panels to the center front and sewed them all together. I also did this on the lining fabric as well. Next I went ahead and pressed all the seams. Then you can go ahead and sew together the side seams on the fashion fabric and also on the lining fabric. Next, move over to the sleeves and sew the side seam of the sleeve. Then you can go ahead and pin this sleeve to the opening of the arms. And after I've sewed this together, I actually reconsidered my design and I had to unpick all the seams because I wanted to do something different. And this is what's fun when you're sewing on intuition, because you end up doing something else. So I found this beautiful lace and I placed it around the seam of the sleeve. So I pinned it together and then I also pinned the sleeve over the lace trim, and then I sewed it all together. I also decided to have this trim along the center of the sleeve. So I cut the sleeve open and then I cut new laces and I pinned it together and closed up the seam and I sewed it all together. Next, you can go ahead and sew the lining together with the dress on the opening of the arms. And I also used my serger over this. Then you can go ahead and pin the skirt together with the bodice part only to the outer fabric. So I lost some footage of this process, but I basically just cut out 2 strips of fabric that is going to be the belt of the dress. So they are about 2 inches wide and 120 or 130 long. So on the first layer, I just sewed around the lace trim all the way around the strip of fabric. And then over, I sandwiched the lace in between another piece of fabric and I sewed them together right side facing each other. And after I have sewed it closed, leaving a little gap so that you can turn it all around, then you can turn it around and after you can go ahead and press it with the iron to make it smooth and flat. Next, I also added some lace trim around the neckline, and then after I've sewed it together, I used some bias binding and I placed it over so that I could hide the raw edge. So I sewed it together and then I folded the bias binding over the raw edge to enclose the neckline. Next, I sewed 2 parallel stitches on the end of the sleeve and then I gathered the fabric to match around my wrist. I didn't add any buttons, so I had to make sure that the opening was wide enough for me to take my hand through it without buttons. Next, I cut out 4 rectangles measuring loosely around my wrist, 10 centimeters wide, and then I sewed some lace trim in between the layers. After I have opened it, I folded it in together again and I tucked the lace trim inside of the 2 layers so that when I sew a straight stitch here, I have some extra lace trim so that when I flip it around, it's not going to be pulled inside of the seam. Then you can go ahead and flip the cuffs over the edge of the sleeve and sew it together with a serger and fold it back again. Now we're moving over to the zipper of the dress, and first I'm serging the edges of the dress and then I'm opening a zipper and I'm sewing one side of the zipper together to the dress and then the other side of the dress. Now flip the dress wrong side facing out and close up the back seam. Next, I'm covering a whole bunch of buttons because I want covered buttons to match my dress. If you're doing this yourself, I would totally recommend you to watch some television while doing this because it will take some time. But to me, this is a very therapeutic time of the sewing because you're close to finished and you just have those very beautiful finished details that will just elevate the dress to next level. Once the dress is all covered with buttons, we are just hemming the bottom. And here I'm just using bias binding, sewing it first right side facing the bottom and then folding it over and sewing it one more time. You can sew it by hand, but I just used my machine for this part. And now let's see the final result. I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's tutorial and please give this video a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content and also hit that bell notification if you want to be notified whenever I post a new video. I post new videos every Thursday. See you guys next week. Bye!